Why did I choose to go to medical school instead of NP school as a second career? Hi, I'm Dr. Bryce. I'm an OBGYN resident and mom of 5 in West Virginia. And yes, I was an RN before I went to medical school. And so I got to make the choice between going to a nurse practitioner school or medical school. So as always, please like, follow, share this with your friends, save this video for later if this is something that you're thinking about. So I was in my 30s. I had been working as an ER nurse, and I was talking with, I was actually looking at NP programs, and I was looking during a slow time in the ER, and one of the ER docs looked over my shoulder. And he said, why are you looking at nursing schools? You're smart, you should go to medical school. And actually, initially, my plan when I was like in high school and college initially was to go to medical school. And then life happened, I ended up married, I had my oldest kiddo, and decided that I would do nursing school and then go on to most likely work as a nurse practitioner. And then once I was working in the medical field, for me, and this is just for me, this is not a critique of my nurse practitioner or nurse anesthetist or any of like my advanced practice nurse colleagues. This is just for me personally. When I was looking at programs and I realized that you could finish the program relatively quickly, so just in 2 years compared to 4 years for medical school, but there was no postgraduate training and there was very limited clinical time that you had. Nurse practitioners or advanced practice nurses are, in theory, you've worked as a nurse for long enough in your area of specialty that you already have a really good foundation, and that you don't necessarily need, that allows you to kind of jump in into that provider role. For me personally, that was very intimidating to not have those extra years and that extra training and support. And so that was part of my thinking. Also, at the same time, I had a couple friends who had been nurses and were finishing NP school and were starting to work. And two in particular had very different experiences. One went to a group where the providers in that group basically structured a mini residency for her where she got staged responsibility and she worked closely with mentors, and they really built her up to where she was able to practice independently, but they really gave her a good foundation coming out of nurse practitioner school. And she thrived and is continuing to thrive. She's doing great. However, another one of my friends was sort of just thrown into the deep water and really struggled and was really not, just really struggled with everything. So that was kind of what solidified my decision, was that for me personally, felt like I wanted more education and more support in my training before I was responsible on my own for somebody's life. What questions do you have about medical school, about being a nurse, and how that's kind of shaped? As I have now gone through everything, I am finding more and more nurses who have actually made the same choice that I have. So there's a handful of us physicians who were also nurses first. So what questions do you have about that? What questions do you have about being a little bit older, so being in your 30s when you're going back to medical school? I'd love to hear from you guys. Just let me know in the comments below, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Thanks, guys.